Hello, everybody, and welcome to Friday Night Live here with Robin. Yes, it is Friday, and it is the 23rd of July of 2021. And yeah, we haven't done one of these for quite some time now, so I thought I would just check in with you all and see how you are all doing out there. And yeah, I've just been a bit quiet on my YouTube channel for quite some time now. So I thought that I would pop in here as an ad hoc broadcaster today to say hello to you all, give you a bit of an update on where things are going with the channel, me, and my Linux experience overall. And yeah, a general check-in with you guys too as well. So welcome along. There's no real set agenda for these broadcasts. I just kind of do these ad hoc. But really, I'm here to, yeah, just check in with you guys and see how you're all doing out there. So for me, today I've had my second vaccine. So a bit sore in the arm today, as I would normally have expected, but no side effects just yet, like I had with my first one. So hopefully I won't have too many problems with this jab this time round. But we will see how things progress. Bit of a worrying time here in the UK at the moment in terms of the number of cases. And I do believe now that another variant is popping up on the scene as well here now in the UK. So worrying times ahead for us all. But anyway, how did Freedom Day go for you? Did it go all right for you? Do you know what? I still don't get why they called it Freedom Day, because really, we're not free. We're not free from the virus. We're not. No, it will still be around. It's going to be here. We all the only thing that we're really free from is the restrictions that obviously, and of course the the mandatory requirements around mask wearing and stuff like that. So yeah, so I'm still working from home. I still get the majority of my shopping delivered here to the house. The only time I really nip out every so often is to just get a few bits and bobs. But what I tend to do is I stagger when I go out. So in terms of the timings, I generally go at less busier times. So for example, if I'm working here or something at home, then I will pop to the shop, say, I don't know, around 5, 5:15, when there's less customers about. Only problem is there's less products on the shelf, but what do you expect for not going out as early in the day as possible? But yeah, but anyway, it's working out well. I nip to the shops, get what I need, and I come straight back. That's all I do. I don't really hang around and do much more than that, really. Just get what I need and come straight back home. And yeah, it's been working out. So far, so good. All of the lateral flow testing that I'm doing 2 or 3 times a week all come back negative, which is great and to be expected. The kids are now off school for 6 weeks. They're broken up, so we're gonna have 6 weeks of fun with my lovely daughters. I've booked my holiday. So when I say holiday, it's not a going away holiday, but at least I've booked my holiday from work, so I get 2 weeks off in mid-August. So that's all now booked in the system, which is good. And then when the kids go back to school the first week of September, they go back. And then the following Monday is when my company go into their hybrid policy. So hybrid working for us would mean 2 days in the office, 3 days at home, depending on what arrangements you want to make with the employer, of course, and your manager is entirely up to you. But anyway, so here in the UK, and most companies are doing this anyway, is a staggered 2-3. So 2 days at home, 3 days, or 3 days in the office, or you have 2 days in the office and 3 days at home, whichever way works best for you. You can, if you want to, go into the office for the full 5 days, but you're not guaranteed to get yourself a desk. So the days of me having my own desk have long gone. They've gone. So probably the first week back, I will be asked to clear out the drawer unit on my existing desk, which currently right now, when I was last in the office, has had its monitor stripped from its desk. The only thing that's left really now is bits and bobs left over from when I was there in March last year. I took the liberty to throw out some old packets of like porridge and stuff like that that was in my drawer. That's now gone. So yes, the only thing that's really left in my drawer unit now is stationary cables for the kit that I use. And yeah, I'm only really going back in the office now for doing stuff that's required for our webinars and live streaming. So it's going well. I've not been in for a couple of weeks now, but I will say that when I do go in, it's a changed experience. It really is. Yeah, the trains are quieter. I don't know what it'll be like when I choose to go back for a couple of days in a couple of weeks' time. But yeah, I mean, since the restrictions have been lifted, things have changed. More people will be on the trains and buses, etc. As I understand it, at the moment, and I got an email from Transport for London today to actually notify us that there will be no Circle Line or no Hammersmith and City Line this weekend due to staff shortage, which is down to self-isolation. So, yeah, the drivers, the station staff, they've all been pinged and been told to self-isolate. My view on this one, all I can say is, where the hell have you been? You've obviously come into contact with somebody that had the virus. Yeah, pubs, restaurants, football games, tennis, the Grand Prix. I mean, there's a lot of sporting events now opened out. Yeah, so my personal view is I can only say you brought it on yourselves, guys. You really did. But I do sympathise for you anyway, and I do hope that no one out there is seeing some serious symptoms and the vaccines are working. I do hope anyway. But yeah, just gives me a gentle reminder to check in with my dad also this week to see how he's doing. I'm double jabbed now. My partner's double jabbed. Still debates over whether children get jabbed yet, but I do hope that my children also get a chance to get the jab before they turn 16. But yeah, that's still ongoing discussions with central government at the moment. Let's see how things pan out with that. But anyway, back to some good news now. And for me and my Linux playtime, really, for the last few days that I've had off work, I am now on Debian 11, the release candidate, RC2 as they call it. And I started off the first few days on Cinnamon, and it was quite a good experience, I will say. But the limitations for me with Cinnamon is that I don't know, you just there's limitations in theming. I know you can download icons and stuff like that, but you know, in terms of theming for the Cinnamon desktop, it's very little, few and far between out there. Customization, there's not really much you can do with that Cinnamon desktop in my personal experience, to be honest. But anyhow, I did all right with it. I went 10 days without doing anything to it. So I did some tweaks and stuff on first installation. Got it right, perfect, looking great, and beautiful desktop wallpaper, etc. And yeah, it turned out great. It really did. And then I thought to myself, well, what's going on in terms of my machine performance? Now, here's probably a bit of a question that I need to open up to you guys here today. I am still very, very weary about CPU temps on my production machine here. And the only real reason for that is because I have had lots of experiences where I've had crashes, overheating, and the performance just drops dramatically. Even when I, start streaming on YouTube and stuff like that. Today, now here for this live, I'm using StreamYard, but of course StreamYard is through the browser, and yeah, there doesn't appear to be any way for me to be able to like download an application and use it via that, or even get a stream key and actually send it out to StreamYard actually via that way. So yeah, I really don't know, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, even right now, and I can show you shortly when I show you my desktop. My CPU is at 35 degrees Celsius, and it's staying there, which is good. It's not going up any further than 35 degrees. So for that, I will say is not bad. So my CPU at the moment, not running 100%, but is doing a good job at 70 or 80%. So it's really good for that. I've ordered myself a better webcam. So what you're seeing today is my 10-year-old, yes, it is 10 years old now, webcam, which is running at 720p. But I've got a 1080p one coming. So I should be able to be up and running with that next week. I got a good deal on a Logitech C920, but not the 920, but the newer model of the 920 range. And it's the 920S, the one with the privacy flap on it. Why did I go with that one? Slightly cheaper, but it's the newer model. And it mentioned something in the description about there's some drivers and stuff that are pre-installed on the actual camera. So you should be able to plug and play with that camera into any device. So I've got a couple of laptops here running Linux and obviously Mac OS. And I've got desktops running Windows 11 at the moment when I'm doing testing with that. I'm using Linux here on this production machine here today. So yeah, I just want to be able to plug the thing in and it works straight away. So OBS should be able to see the input straight away without any issue there. So yes, I'm looking forward to receiving that in a couple of days. I got a dispatch notification from Logitech today. So I bought it from Logitech Direct because I got a deal through my my work, believe it or not, through their Perks at Work scheme. So yeah, I signed in to that and managed to get just a minute discount. Not much, but at least I got a few quid off of that. And I know that I'll get good support out of Logitech if there's anything wrong with it. So yeah, looking forward to installing that C920 next week and finally getting my upgrade to 1080p. Because I know the lighting in this room is all right. I've got good light above me, good light in front of me, good sounding microphone. I just basically need to plug in this camera and away we go. So yeah, we'll see how things pan out. But yeah, so Debian. So I'm Debian 11, and today I did try out GNOME, or GNOME, but it started to be a bit sluggish on me. And I started to think, why are you slugging out on me? It should be really great, if anything, because I'm on older hardware here. But no, I wasn't liking it at all. And I forgot that it wasn't GNOME 3.38. I think it was still 3.36. And I believe that when Debian 11 finally comes around to release, then that will be running on 3.38.4. So we'll wait and see with that one there. But anyway, didn't hang around with GNOME much, so I uninstalled that. Went on to XFCE, no problems at all. So that just proves that my machine absolutely loves XFCE. Performance, brilliantly. I had no issues playing videos. Codecs, I didn't even need to install. They were there straight away. Yeah, I just think the whole experience was pretty darn good. So tonight, I decided to install KDE. And the KDE Plasma desktop now has brought me on to version 5.20. Debian being Debian, they're never going to be the latest of the latest versions. So it's going to be another couple of years before they get around to upgrading to 5.22 or even 5.23. Yeah, so Debian, I will say, I love it because it is like the birth of Linux to me. And if you love Ubuntu, then yeah, you're using Debian basically with some extras on top. Pop! OS, for example, you are using bits of Debian mixed in with Ubuntu. So yeah, I'll come on to Pop! OS in a few moments. But Debian, yeah, so I'm today on 5.20. And what can I say about it? Well, so far, so good. Performance-wise, the animations are behaving themselves. I've enabled. Oh, sorry, you guys can't really see me much, can you? I've enabled wobbly windows and added in some extra effects, and it is just running perfectly with no issues at all. So loving that. So yeah, so I suppose I really should get around to showing you what I've been up to with this. So what are we going to expect with Debian 11? Well, apart from the fact that it's needed, I will say, because it's been a long time since version 10 got into our hands. I think it was about this time last year they actually released 10. And there's just been point releases on forever on top of that. Now I'm signed up to some mailing list where I get an email notification every time somebody submits a security flaw or an update, basically. And then I kind of know that was a biggie because I would have found out about it in advance. And then a few days later, I see in the news that Debian have released a patch update. So you get another point release on top of that. So currently now Debian is on 10.10. And I don't think really now we're far off actually going for a full 11 release. The fact that we're now in release candidate phase 2, where they're releasing it out to us all now, I kind of think it's ready for beta. Maybe this is beta. See, this is another thing as well. When somebody talks to me about release candidates, a release candidate to me is a beta. Not a public beta, but a beta as such that you can take away this distro or whatever installation of software it might be, and it's nearly ready. I mean, absolutely nearly ready, about 98% there, basically. And then you release it a couple of weeks later as a beta, and then finally it becomes the full release. But I think Debian are going to be really good with this. I think they might jump straight from an RC into a release. But there's nothing in their forums yet to give any indication as and when they're likely to release it. But hey ho, we shall see and wait for that one there. Right, so let's take a look at what we have got here now. So let me just now, I don't want to do that because that is both of my screens. So let me just allow, which screen are we sharing here? You're seeing both my screens, aren't you? I need to share a single screen. So select window. Okay, what do we got open at the moment? Oh, it's a window, so I can't share the whole screen. No. Who knows StreamYard most? EB does, doesn't he? Okay, well, I've got the Windows selection here. So let's just see if I go like so. I think now You see my browser, don't you? You do, don't you? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, there you go. So you can see me moving my cursor around this browser. Let me just kickstart that. What's going on there? There we go. That's fine. I'm just waiting for an update from my sources as to what's happening with the impending storm tonight. Excuse me while I get comfortable. Yeah, so you can see it's raining quite heavily down south at the moment, and it is heading our way. We have got thunderstorms and gusts heading our way overnight tonight. So we'll wait and see what what comes of that. Yeah, so I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to be able to share my screen with you here, because the screen, it says share screen, but I can't actually share it. Let's have a look. So share. Select my window. See, it only wants me to share my entire screen. But it doesn't allow me to go single screen. Yes, you're seeing both screens now. So you should now see what I've got on my dual screen setup here now. So I've got my browser to the left and my Debian blank screen to the right. Just minimize everything here. Okay. Well, you can see what I'm doing. I'll just minimize these. So this is my Debian 11 installation, and yeah, so a few issues I'm having at the moment is trying to get Wine installed. So the Wine website does give you some instructions as to what to do, and I have followed it step by step, but I keep getting loads of errors coming up where it's obviously looking for some sort of dependencies. And any attempt I make to try and get those dependencies from the repositories, it ain't having it. So I don't know what's going on there. Anyway, I'm just going to clear that. So here we are on my Debian 11 install, and I have already installed NeoFetch. And if we take a look, I am hitting on 4.4 gigs of my RAM at the moment. Bearing in mind, I'm doing some streaming inside Firefox, and my CPU is at a full 100%. So it's taking quite a bit of pressure on my RAM at the moment. But 4.4 out of my 16, that's not bad at all. And in terms of one of my favorite apps to use at the moment, and I've downloaded the Flatpak version because the Snap version of this is completely different for some reason. I don't know why. But the Flatpak has brought through the newer features, and I'm using this radio app called Shortwave. And the Debian and the Ubuntu users amongst us, you'll be very familiar with G Radio. G Radio now is Shortwave. You can still get and install G Radio if that's your preferred radio client, but Shortwave is the new version. So here is Shortwave, and yeah, when you basically load it for the first time, this is what you see. And if you know the kind of station that you're looking for, you just go to the search panel, and if I, for example, search for Heat Radio, we should get something come back. There we go. And you can either listen to it straight away without adding it to your favorites, but if you want to add it to your favorites, you just click anywhere in the box and you get this prompt come up, and then you just add it to your library. So I do that. And then to get back to your library, you've got your list. So you click back and back again, and here is your list. So for example, I've added in Fox News America, and I've got ABC from the Australia in here as well somewhere. It seems to have disappeared, but I know I definitely added it and was listening to the station earlier on. So yeah, it's a very, very good client. I love it. I really do love it. What I really love about it most, and I'm going to keep the fader down for this one, is that if I attempt to tune into a station, you get the song details come up here on the right-hand side. But what you don't know is that the song is recording quietly in the background on your machine. So at the moment, this Darkness Settles In by Five Finger Death Punch is playing. There you go. Short burst there. When it switches to the next song, this song here will appear in the list, like the previous listen, basically, at the bottom. But it would have only recorded from the moment that I tuned into the station. So the next song that's playing and the song title that's changed, that will record from the moment that song changed. So yeah, do you remember the good old days of having the tape deck and the old UK Top 40 ready, and that'll record and pause? You used to run to it to quickly get rid of the presenter mentioning the position they were in the charts. So yeah, that's pretty much, there we go. See, it's now just changed. You get your notification, and in a moment we should see the song appear. Because it hasn't changed yet. I can't really do much more than that. So yeah, if you click the three dots, you get a chance to enable a mini player. So if you're happy that you've got your station tuned in and you kind of want it out of the way, you can switch to a mini player, and it shows here in the top, and you can move it around the screen if you want. So I'll leave it sort of about there, and then it will just sit quietly there. And I think if you double click it, yeah, there we go. It launches the yeah, so I'll minimize that again. Is it that button there I press? Yes, there we go. There you go. It's done that now. That did that. Oh, there's ABC. I did do it. So just checking that. Takes a while because it's connecting to Australia.
Have to shut off because they don't have.
There you go. All right. There's music there.
Generators.
There must be music playing out on their TV stream at the moment. Okay. So yeah. So shortwave is my most used application on Linux, because really I am a radio guy and I love listening to internet radio, and yeah, just discovering stations from all over the world. And of course I do listen into the UK ones, which is why I've put the UK ones there as my favorites. So yeah, there's shortwave. Then of course I downloaded Discord. Now Discord I got from the Snap Store. There is a minute difference between the Snap and the Flatpak version, I will say, but visually you won't notice a difference. But what features there are in the back end, there is a difference. So version numbers, for example, you compare the version numbers and you will notice that the Flatpak version is the most up-to-date version. So the beauty about me being on Debian is that when I load up the software store, is it uses Flatpak by default. So that makes me entirely happy. I don't know what your experience of Debian is, but certainly when you come across to 11, any application that you attempt to search and install will come down from the Flatpak repositories. You can, if you want to go with the Debian repositories, install an app through the Synaptic Package Manager, and that would be the correct way to do it. However, if you want a graphical user interface, then go with the Software Center, but just be aware that you'll be installing Flatpak or even Snap, depending on how you've set up your desktop, your distribution there. So yeah, just be wary of what you're doing there. So in terms of new features, I am not really noticing that much difference, apart from the fact that Debian is so far behind. I just do not understand why. All the other distros, all the other rolling releases, they can keep on going and keep up to date, but Debian just sticks there. So when they finally get around to releasing version 11, you need to kind of think about this one being your long-term support release, your LTS release. So if you want something stable, I would stick with Debian 11 and just let it update whenever they push out the point releases. But if you're a bit itchy and always wanting the latest and greatest, then you need to look towards a rolling release, and that would be your Manjaros and, of course, your 6 monthly cycles of the Ubuntu flavors as well. So, but obviously, Manjaro is Arch, but Ubuntu is obviously Debian based. And then anything else on top of that. So Linux Mint, for example, loads of people out there. And Mint is still the #1 downloaded distribution alongside MX Linux. Those two distributions side by side are just awesome. I will say that. If I was to recommend any distribution to anybody, I would definitely choose to recommend that you go for MX Linux. Why? Because it's Debian based. And I think I can say it's pure 100% Debian based. Dolphin, if you're listening, I'm pretty sure that you can correct me on that one. But from personal experience, there's no Ubuntu in there, and they are definitely looking at Debian repositories for any of the updates that they do inside MX Linux. And if you want something a bit sort of, Windows 10 based, then yeah, I would definitely look to go to Linux Mint. And version 20.2 is now out. And I will say that I've played around with 20.2, but I'm afraid I can't. Because for some unknown reason, my desktop is not liking or taking to install 20.2 for some reason. And I think it's probably a UEFI issue that I'm experiencing. I get to the end of the install and it complains about the bootloader. I've seen that happen to me in other distributions, but it's annoyance for me when I see that happening inside Linux Mint. So I'm afraid Linux Mint 20.2 is an absolute no-no for me. But what I haven't done yet is install it on the laptop. I've only tried to install it on my production machine here. And because it's Intel based, I think that might also be contributing towards it. So it might be a system D thing that's trying to get in the way. So still do my investigations there. I will get it up and running, but I can run it from a live key. That's not a problem. It's actually when I physically install it onto the hard disk and try to boot up from there where I'm seeing those issues. So Linux 20.2, Linux Mint 20.2 out now. And if you're experiencing any issues, then it's good to hear that I'm not alone. But yeah, we'll see how you get on. Do let us know. Do let us know in the comments there. Right, let's see if we can get back to what we was doing on the desktop here. So let me just now bring me back into the screen here. What do I do here? Stop sharing screen. There we go. Right, there's me back again. Hi. Hello. So yeah, like I say, tonight's stream, no set agenda. It's a free for all. Feel free to obviously post some questions in the chat there, and I'll see if I can get those answered for you. What else can I say in terms of some personal experiences? Now, Brave Search. Now, it's been out for a couple of weeks now, nearly a month, I think. I've tried it, and you do get some fantastic results come back. But I do still think they've got a lot to do with the UI. It's not a Google, but you definitely need to do something with the UI. And from personal experience, I will say it's not great on my eyes. But yeah, I mean, it could be a color thing. Could be we need a bit more dark mode in there. I don't know, but it certainly looks too washed out for me. But we'll see. I haven't tried it on my mobile or a tablet yet. But from desktop, Brave Search, great results. Still a lot to do on the UI there, so I will park that one for a while longer. Google, on the other hand, is beginning to niggle me just a little now. I'm getting more intrusion now from adverts. And I think that's probably more their way of trying to get me to invest some money and go with their. I think is it their Google Workspaces now? I think. So yeah, well, I don't know, but they're starting to annoy me just a little bit with that one there. And what else? So Bing is another search engine which is well, it's turning out to be my primary search engine. And so far, I've had no issues whatsoever. Oh, hello. So we've got some questions in the chat. Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ben there. It says that I'm now using Q4 OS Gemini KDE Plasma based on Debian 11. Oh, that's good to hear. Good to hear there. And very lightweight, and you can install MX Tools. Oh, really? What, MX Tools what? Inside Debian? That'd be interesting. I have used MX Tools inside MX Linux. I haven't tried it in Debian 11, if that's possible. So we could maybe try that here on the stream tonight. Yeah, anyway, welcome to the stream there, Ben. Yeah, maybe that is one I could take to Dolphin. I might ask him about that one, actually. Let's see. But yeah, no, I haven't tried it, so no. But thanks for that. Yeah, good suggestion. I'll look into that one. But certainly KDE, no issues with KDE, and I think probably it might be to do with the fact that I'm not running Wayland. I'm running Xorg. I've got an NVIDIA graphics card, running an old GT 710 with 2 gigs of RAM on it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really know. Anyhow, right. So this wallpaper, by the way, is one that I've downloaded from Unsplash, and I like it very, very much. But as I say, in terms of the default wallpapers here, you again, I need to try and share my screen. So let me try and see what else I can do in terms of getting me and the screen up. Let's do that and share my screen again. Select window. Maybe I'll just do the window this time. There we go. What do you see? You see me and you see the window, don't you? So you need to see. There we go. That's what we need to see. Perfect. Brilliant. So in terms of the wallpapers that you get with KDE here on Debian 11, we get some new wallpapers, but it's the same wallpaper variations of it in terms of its size. But I do like the new one. It's a bit on the dark side, but who am I to complain? Where else have we got here? I've just selected that, haven't I? Yeah, and again, you can't see that because I've got the wrong screen up. Aha. Yeah, I do wish we could use OBS to feed into to StreamYard here. But we will get there. Share screen. And I'll do one more time. Now, can I get the desktop this time? Or should I do the entire screen? I think I'm going to have to do the entire screen. There's very little I can do about that, I'm afraid. Let me just do that. Yeah. Okay. All right. Very little I can do there, I'm afraid. But anyway, you can see the wallpaper now as default here, and I quite like it. I really do. It blends in really, really well with this KDE desktop here. But yeah, like Debian overall for me is the granddaddy of Linux. It really is. And I say granddaddy for me in terms of how I was introduced to Linux. And for me, the first distro I ever touched was Ubuntu. And now I think it was back in version, wow, when was that? Might have been version 15. I'm sure it was a lot shorter than that. I think it has to be one of the really early ones. Debian 9, Ubuntu 9, perhaps, I think it was. So yeah, so that got me thinking, like, well, what is Linux? And then I started doing investigations and really found out that Ubuntu was Debian based. So really, I started learning about Bash and what you could do inside a terminal. And it was there that I started learning about all the aptitude commands. I still yet can't do any further commands that I see most people doing on their streams. But I think it's probably down to personal experience. You do in the terminal what you need to do. That's either fixing a problem or installing some software or copying files from one location to the other that doesn't require any graphical user interface of any kind. So yeah, so for me, that worked out good. And for me, I just now, when I look at any other distros, I just know what I'm doing straight away. If it's Debian based or Ubuntu based, I know what commands I need to install my software. I can just fire them off straight away. With any distribution that is kind of Ubuntu based or Debian based, the first thing that I do is obviously set the screen resolution if I haven't got it installed correctly. If it needs the NVIDIA driver, if it hasn't already installed it during installation, then I install that because obviously it's a must and a requirement. And then after that, I will then do the update and upgrades. And then I think probably the first software that I download in any Linux distribution is NeoFetch. And I do that because I just like to see what the actual setup is, how much RAM it's using, what the desktop environment is, and even what down to the theme as well. And I see it on most streams as well. I think, oh, I like the look of that. And I will pause the video whilst they've got their NeoFetch up, and I will quickly make a note as to what desktop environment they're using and what themes they're running with as well. Because most of the themes you can download free of charge anyway, free and open source from like pling.com. If you're using XFC, there's XFC Lux, and even the KDE store. So they generally are the great themes, aren't they? So you do that. And then after I've twiddled around with that, I will then look to change some wallpapers, get the sound configuration right, making sure that Pulse Audio is working for me, display driver, making sure that all works with no crashes, making sure that I'm up to date in terms of my display manager drivers. I'm getting now more confident in using Wayland. And I think that's because there's really good support for Wayland in the future releases of Ubuntu. Definitely the latest 2104 is now using Wayland by default, that is. And the machine has no issues. It just means that I have to have the NVIDIA drivers on the machine because of the work that I do. And that generally requires me to have OBS and screen capture software and stuff like that. And I have to use the graphics card to do that. And in order to do that, I need the latest NVIDIA drivers on there. So yeah, generally that's what I run with. And then after that, I just really start dabbling around in a browser. So most of my Linux experience is in a browser. Yeah, well, why? What's the point, Robin? Then, but anyway, I just like the fact that I'm not on Windows. Windows now is just getting beyond a joke for me now. It really is, really is. Um, and even trying out Windows 11 on the other desktop machine. Well, I can see Microsoft are trying, but they've got a lot of work on their hands convincing everyone that 11 is the future. But 10 is just now so dated. It really is. And just so ugly. It really is. But yeah, I can't wait to rid my machines of 10. And this machine that I'm using is 100% Linux. So I am purely running Debian 11 Bullseye on here at the moment, which is good. So yeah, I've kind of lost trail of thought as to what else I was going to mention to you guys here today. But anyway, open to questions. We've had a question this evening already from Ben. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let's just see. Let me just now turn my screen off here because I need to do just a couple of things here. Let me just take the screen off there and we're back to me now. Thank you. All right, lovely. And probably StreamYard is another platform that I need to investigate, but not highly recommended at the moment for me. It really is not for my personal use. I'm an OBS guy. Got to use OBS. Oh, and that was another thing as well. I was having issues with OBS. Now, the main issue for me was within the fact that I can't use the actual driver of the graphics card to do the encoding. So I can't use NVENC, for example. I did get it to show up on the stream output in the drop down that you choose when I used the Snap version of OBS. But as soon as I hit start stream or record, I got the usual error message where it wasn't liking it at all. And the only cure for that really is to go back to Ubuntu or look to use the software as what you get in the drop down as your secondary driver there, your encoder driver. So yeah, there's that as well. Anyhow, so what has been in the news this week, technology wise? Was there a new version of Firefox? I think we're now on Firefox 89. I do know there was an update to Edge. Vivaldi has also pushed out an update. I noticed the other day when I loaded up Vivaldi, it told me that there was an update available. Opera I haven't touched in ages. But most of these browsers are Chromium based. So as soon as the kind of Chrome code changes and they push it out to the open source world, the other browsers follow suit. So yeah, well, I don't know what your favorite browser is out there, but certainly I am primarily Firefox across all of my Linux installations. But you know, I do use Brave an awful lot, and that's mostly to turn off adverts and trackers. Be locked down, be private as such. Do that. Anyway, if you would like to submit a question, do by all means pop it in the chat there, and I'll do my utmost best to answer that. As I say, it's a bit of an ad hoc stream for me here today, but thank you very much for joining us here. I wonder if anybody's on my Discord today. Let's have a look at my Discord. So Digital Robin does have, Digital Robin is me, by the way, does have a Discord server where in there I do actually share hints and tips and news in the Linux world, Windows, and also have a voice chat area as well where members can come and use that area to have a chit chat and joining with other Linux users out there. there's that. We do obviously as well use Discord to keep up to date with what everyone else is up to out there. And at the moment, my Discord server is okay. Still, I mean, I've been on Discord for well over a year now, but there's still lots for me to be able to learn what to do in here. But I'm liking the fact that I can actually join paid services and get exclusive content through there on their Discord servers. People can send me direct messages as well if we're following each other. And yeah, I just generally like to have a general chit chat with people as well, which is good. Yeah, so I don't really have much more to say out there. I'll give it just a little while longer, just in case there's any questions coming through. But I hope you're all keeping safe out there and are managing to get those vaccines done pretty quickly. As I say, it's worrying times, tough times, but we'll get there. We'll get through. The more people are vaccinated, the better. But the more these new variants keep popping up, the less chance we've got of fighting it. But I'm sure, no doubt, they'll keep boosting us. So after the second vaccine that I've had today, I'm pretty sure that I'll be invited back to a third at some point. But because I'm a man in my 40s, I probably don't fit that age group. But it's still ongoing. Still ongoing. Oh, I know. Just one last thing to mention before I drop off here. This production machine was having some issues in terms of noise. And it got very, very noisy of late. And when I looked into it, it wasn't the fact that the fans were dusty, because I regularly clear out my machine. I'd give it a regular maintenance every month. And yeah, it just was really noisy. It literally sounded like an aeroplane taking off. And when I looked into it, it turned out that the fan that I've got uses a 3-pin rather than a 4-pin. And it was connected to the wrong connector on the motherboard. So when I put it onto the correct connector of the motherboard, it was working. It slowed down, but it still was noisy. So the revs per minute were quite high. But I'm not able to control it in terms of its voltage and stuff like that because it is not a PWM 4-pin, basically. So I went shopping online and found on Amazon a Cooler Master Silencio FP120. And this beauty is now installed in my desktop. And I can't hear it. The fans are ramped up at the moment because I'm doing a live stream and the CPU is sticking there at 100% at the moment. But yeah, I mean, I took out this old 3-pin fan here, and this is an Antec, so a pretty good brand, this one, but it's noisy. And when I did my research, it turns out the fact that because it's a 3-pin and not a 4, that it can't be controlled within software or in BIOS. Not a problem. That's fine, because I'll keep this one on standby in case I have any further issues. But as soon as I put that Silencio into the box, booted up, you hear the fans ramp up, as you obviously always do when you boot the machine up. And then I heard it drop, dramatically drop. Now it no longer sounds like an aeroplane. It is whisper quiet. And as soon as I end this stream in a few moments' time, those fans will go down to literally no decibels whatsoever. It's good. It really is. But anyway, this Silentio FP120 now gives me a range of 800 to 1400 revs per minute, which is good. And when I did my checks the other day, I was running this box constantly on load, and I benchmarked it, and the revs per minute I was getting out of it was 100% coming through at no more than 700 revs per minute, which balanced out nicely with the System Fan 1 as well in there that's plugged into my motherboard. So yeah, a couple of days on load test, and yeah, it worked fine. Machine's still here, still on, and I've not booted up at all. And I rebooted, it's there, it's working perfectly. So yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. And it says it's got a 5-year guarantee on it, 5-year warranty. Now, does that mean 5 years of constant use? So I've got to leave it on for 5 years before it starts having issues and I have to replace it? Or am I going to get more shelf life out of it if I shut the PC down when I'm not using it and then only have it in use when it's booted up? Well, from personal experience, I would say desktop PCs are meant to be designed to stay on 100% of the time. I know it seems daft and you want to save on power and electricity, etc. But yeah, no, it's true. A PC should stay on 100% of the time. Just log out. That's all you got to do, and just put your monitors into standby mode. But laptops, on the other hand, you can't leave those on. They're only really designed to be on for like literally 9-10 hours a day. That's it. Otherwise, they start to overheat and have issues. So I'm really, really chuffed to bits about this. And I think partly the stability issues, I say issues, they're not issues now, but the stability that I'm seeing within Debian 11 is part down to the fact that I've replaced this fan and now I've got a good airflow going around my box, keeping my CPU down, which is currently right now, it hasn't moved at all. I'm watching this on a monitor now, 35 degrees Celsius. It hasn't moved. It's been there the entire 100% time that this stream has been running. So that to me suggests that there's nice cool airflow going around that CPU at this moment in time. It's an AMD FX4 100, before anybody else asks out there. Really, really old. I've had it in this machine now for over 10 years. Never had an issue. It is still the same processor on an AMD 3 board. I'm running a Gigabyte 970A UD3P, which is legacy and UEFI. So I run both Windows 10 and Linux off of those, but they're both in separate hard drives. So when I ever need to boot into Windows for work, then I just boot onto the other hard drive via the BIOS. And then obviously all other times I boot 100% of the time into Linux. Yeah, so this FX4 100 chip has been working superbly. I am now reaching the point where I should now be looking to upgrade the hardware, not because of Windows 11, although that would be very, very helpful, but it is time to upgrade that hardware. I am seriously considering moving to Mac for my next machine. I mean, I'm still umming and ahhing. Mac OS I have no issues with whatsoever, but it is an OS that stays. You can't really do anything with it. You've got to rely on whatever Apple push to you via that. So I've got to think to myself, how much do I love Linux to carry on, playing around with that as my hobby? I really enjoy playing around with Linux. There's so many distributions, so many settings, so many apps out there that you can use fully open source and it uses. And yeah, it just works for me. It really does. And I have no issues, no crashes, nothing. I can comfortably use Linux on this machine without an issue. Windows, on the other hand, yeah, it's fine. I mean, the machine was built for Windows, but the performance and stability is not that great. So that's now showing me that the CPU and the age of the motherboard and the RAM that I've got in there is too old. It really is too old now. So I ran the test to see if I could put Windows 11 on there. It said, nah, your machine doesn't support. So I don't know. It might be TPM, the trusted protocol, but trusted power management. Could be that. I mean, I did enable it within my motherboard options as suggested by Gigabyte, but yeah, I mean, the Windows 10, the Windows 11 installer still basically says that my machine is not up to the job. So yeah, so sometime in the next 12 months, some new hardware I'm going to have to consider. But anyhow, we're doing great here so far. I'm happy and still distro hopping, I will say. It's not that I haven't found the right one. It's sticking with the right one. That's my issue. I'm always itching to test and try it, like the next release or the next best thing. But because Debian 11 is upcoming, I thought, now's a good time to actually see what's different in 11 that I'm not getting from 10. And that's what I did. So when 11 hits the ground, then we should see an update to MX Linux. And I'm guessing already version 20 might already be in production. I doubt there'll be a point release with MX Linux on the next release. But, we've got to wait and see what happens. If Debian 11 releases in what I think would be the next couple of months, then we are probably going to see a newer version of MX Linux, not a point release. But don't quote me on that. It's just a personal feeling that I've got. But here we go. Anyway, I've jabbered on a bit too much here. But anyway, thank you for joining us on this live stream here this Friday. It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much for letting me to obviously, catch up with you guys. Let us know your thoughts and suggestions, comments, suggestions. Don't forget, if you're watching this for the first time, to click the like, smash that like or bell, whatever you call it. And, you'll be notified whenever we go live or next I upload a video. My next video, by the way, is coming soon. I'm still dabbling over what I'm going to be doing, but yeah, I mean, I've been asked to take a look at Gen 2. So I've had a bit of a play of it offline, and I'm not 100% there yet. So I think it might be time for me to call in the guys at Calculate. I know they've offered to do a live stream with me, so let's see how we go with there. But Gen 2 at the moment is not for me. I'm still learning that. Calculate Linux, I've been dabbling with the XFC version and not having any issues. GNOME is good as well, stability-wise. But for me, I think it's probably more to do with the commands and terminals. I need to learn all of that. But just firstly, top of my head, Gen 2 for me and this production machine, too slow. Really is too slow. If I type in a command to install a bit of software, I need to have it installing just like that. It needs to be up and ready within a minute. I can't sit here for 10 minutes waiting for the thing to, package up, unzip itself, and then install. I can't have any of that. But there we go. I'll live and learn, keep trying, and I think probably it might be best for me to move Calculate onto the laptop rather than try and use this desktop and see if we get any performance improvements out of that one there. But like I say, thank you very much for joining us here on this ad hoc stream today. Let me know if you'd like it to be a regular thing. But yeah, so the Olympics has now started in Tokyo. So good luck Team GB and all the others that are participating. I'm quite happy. I know it's going to be a late one for the guys in Japan tomorrow, but I'm quite happy with the fact that we can actually see some sporting action in the morning when we get up. I think the swimming is tomorrow. Quick kick out for that as well. So yeah, we'll take a look at that. But good luck, Team GB, and hope all goes well for you there in Japan. And to anybody as well that is self-isolating, do take care. Remember about the washing your hands regular. You're wearing your masks if you're out and about, and yeah, stay at home and do exactly as the app says. Isolate and keep safe. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. And yeah, like I say, let me know if you'd like these to become a regular thing. Obviously, I've got no background music and backdrops and stuff. But next week we'll have a new webcam. We'll give that one a try, shall we? Thanks everyone for joining us, and I'll catch you again sometime in the next video. Take care now.